Right.
The first set, no, that I couldn't get settled. There was two,
Yeah, I agree.
too busy.
It got sweeter after.
As it, yes,
as it went on.
yes, and relax.
As you know, I talk a lot about keeping quiet inside, keeping still, keeping silent, especially of course when you're confronted with situations. And I happened to come across something. You go into the computer, you go, what am I going to play today? So I go in, the first thing I hit, right at the front, was this one with an interview by David Godman, whom I think you've heard before. David Godman is kind of, he holds himself as the chronicler of what went on at Brahman Ashram. And he loved to interview spiritual people, ask about their lives that were around there in Ashram. And in this particular instance, Papaji, who is the teacher of Muji, Papaji is a direct disciple of Rama. And Papaji, of course, is enlightened and a teacher himself. And Muji got enlightened through that teaching, Papaji. And I just happened to say, see if it's still there. Don't mind if you don't understand some of the words. It's kind of the whole gist of it you'll get. And so it said exactly what I had been thinking. Keep quiet. And so I thought that's very appropriate. Please treat this as very valuable stuff that you're going to hear now. That's David Godman when he was young.
To know thy own self, you don't need any teaching.
Actually, we're trying to make a film about your teaching. How can we make a film when you say you have no teaching?
To have any teaching is preaching. Teacher has no teaching, no method, no way. To know thy own self, you don't need any teaching. What you really are, always you are that itself. No one is going to teach you. You have to realize who you are, here and now, this moment.
Papaji, you're telling people to look in a particular direction. You're saying look towards your own self. Isn't telling people this a teaching?
No direction. If they don't look any direction, looking at any direction is abiding to any direction, to any object. So they get lost. So if they do without directions, no concept of any direction in their mind, then they will know what they have been really, and they will know that they're that itself. which they have been always and would be.
Do you regard yourself as a guru, Papaji?
No, not at all. I never declare I am guru.
But what about all these people who are coming to you, Papaji? The ones who think that they are your devotees? Are they your devotees?
When there is no guru, there is no question of any devotees. They come to see me. I welcome them. Whosoever come, I welcome them. If they don't come, wish them good luck. When they leave me, farewell. Be happy wherever you are.
Papaji, you encourage everyone who comes to you to look for their own self. What motivates you to do this?
My own happiness, because they are sleeping and they are suffering. When the prayer is within them and they are suffering, everybody, all the human beings of this world are suffering and finding peace and happiness in the objects, and this has turned out in the end pain and suffering. There is no object in the mind, no person, no thing, no concept that can return you happiness and peace of mind. So I just tell them, give them this information, don't look here, there, anywhere. Peace is within you and within the heart of all beings. So you keep quiet, don't look anywhere, don't allow your mind to abide anywhere, and you will see that it is peace, happiness itself. That is the fundamental truth, and every being in the world is happiness itself.
Papaji, I think that most people who come to see you would say that you're giving out something more than information. Almost everyone who comes to you feels that there's some power, some grace in your presence, and that this power and this grace enables them to find out who they really are. Do you have any comments on this?
Definitely, I'm pointing out at their own self, which is the fountain of the grace, of love, of beauty. Here arises the love and peace also. Just point them out. Look within yourself for 1 second, and you will not search, not find. You will see that you are peace itself. Just point out to see. People who are sleeping, it's better to wake them up, because in the dream they are suffering, and in the dream this is only a projection, what they are suffering for, seeing a tiger, a robber pouncing on them, but actually this is only a projection. So stop all the projections and you will see the dream was a dream, it was not a reality. So whatever you see, it's a dream. Wherever there is an object, wherever there is a seer and the seen are objects and subjects, and if you get rid of it somehow, of this relationship between object and subject, what's left?
When people come to see you and you look at them and they say, Papaji, I'm suffering, do you feel compassion for them? And when in your presence they wake up, do you rejoice? Do you have any reactions like these?
I do feel compassion, because what else is there for me? I have compassion for all beings who are suffering and who are dreaming. I just tell them, wake up, my dear friends, my dear children, wake up. There's no suffering at all. It's only projection of your mind, and which has produced the suffering, and you are dreaming. Wake up from the dream, and all the suffering will end.
Can we talk about something different now, Papaji? Could you tell us the story of the Japanese professor with one line who couldn't stop laughing? I think that's a very good story about your teaching. Can you tell the whole story?
Somehow, he came to know from Japan, he came to see me, and I was living in my house, and he asked the people downstairs, I want to see the master. So this man was a Zen master, himself a Zen master and a professor in some university in Japan. So he says, I cannot go up. He says, Papaji is very busy, some other people are also there. And then he said, okay, slowly, if you give me some help, you help me, and I will go up. And there are many, steps are not many, and they are not very high. So somehow he came and made him sit in front of me. But what was going on? Only laughing. Only laughing. So he was a Zen background. So I was not teaching, only laughing, everybody was laughing, and there were people from about 30, 32 countries, Westerns, Indians also. So they were laughing, and then he also started laughing. So he laughed and laughed. There was no particular talk. So then there was a time for the lunch, and lunch was on the ground floor. So everybody came and lunch was served to him. And then he spoke to some people. He was on one lung. He was on one lung, and one lung was taken away. And the doctors told me, you have not to laugh, and you have not to go up anything. And when I came down and when I laughed, I thought my other lung has been replaced. I feel, and then he was feeling actually that his lung was replaced. And then he was all the time laughing and laughing. He didn't have any questions. So he returned back, he said, I will invite you to Japan, but I said, I'm going to Venezuela. Then he said, I will send one of my students again, not only to, I will send you a ticket or invitation. I will send you one of my best students. And this student came when he returned from Venezuela and some other countries. Then he said, when he returned from Lucknow, and people asked him, what have you brought from Lucknow? What is the teaching of Bhagavad? Then he started laughing. What is the teaching? Laughing. And dancing also. I think people who have attended this satsang still remember, never any satsang has taken place in Lucknow. And teaching was only laughing. Because when you laugh, you try. When anybody laughs, he has no mind, no thought, no problem, no suffering.
So long as the mind persists, there is no mind.
No mind, yes, you You see, people, those who don't laugh, they have got mind and they look very serious and many problems are there. So they have mind because for any problem, sometimes you need mind. It's the mind that suffers. So you laugh away. Any problem comes, you laugh away. And it goes away, it runs away, flies away.
So laughter is a response to the absence of pain and suffering. Would you say that?
What's it?
When all the mental problems go, then spontaneously laughter arises.
Of course, yes. Only man who has got rid of all problems, he laughs, he wins. All problems. He has only to dance and only to laugh, you see. There was one saint, he was living on the top of a mountain midnight, full moon, and he started laughing and laughing. All the people of the village woke up. What happened to this monk? They went on the top of the hill, asked him, sir, what happened? Oh, look, there's a cloud, there's a cloud. Many people see the cloud but do laugh. It is for the one who will know anything he will see, it gives him occasion to laugh. Because it becomes that thing. See, at that time, cloud is there, and moon is behind, and this is enough to laugh.
So when you see the world Papaji, you think it's a big joke? Are you laughing at it all the time?
I don't know what it is. I don't study any sutra. I have never studied any sutras, nor I refer to any sutras. I make joke only.
People in the West are being continuously bombarded with spiritual advice. All kinds of groups and teachers are saying, join us and we will give you happiness. What exactly is different about your message, and why should anyone believe it or listen to it?
They advise the people to destroy them, and I tell them to reject those teachers and preachers and come to me. I will give you good advice. Don't listen to anybody's advice, neither to my advice. Speak within you and listen to your own voice, what you will hear. Don't listen to any advice, because any advice belongs to the past. Any advice, some advisor has been reading this advice from some book, heard from someone. So our advices belong to the past. So there is no advice to know thyself. So don't listen to anybody's advice. You keep quiet. This is the best advice. I give advice, keep quiet. Don't think and don't make any effort. This is my advice. And if you follow it, you have done very well for you and for everybody and all the beings of the world.
So following any advice, except the advice be quiet, takes one away from the self, not towards it.
Of course it has, because it takes you to the past. Any advice, you give me any instant, any advice that you can mention, he has heard from someone or read from some sutra, any advice. Advisors have not shown good results, and those advisors teach you to fight with the neighbors and other people who don't belong to your church, isn't it? You follow their advice, other teacher tells you follow my advice, so there is a cooperation.
Now, Papaji, you have often said that a strong desire for enlightenment is necessary. Are any other qualifications required?
I don't think this also is a qualification. It arises from within, somewhere, there one. It rises from within and dances on the bosom of the freedom itself, and dies for some time, plays and settles down. This is the desire. Because when the desire arises for any object, you are happy to meet the object. This freedom is neither object nor subject, you see. It rises from the same source, plays on the same source, always, and settles down in the source. There is no problem with the rise and fall. So it is the same thing whether it rises or not. People who have desire for something else, they only call it desire for freedom will rise. I don't feel that this will rise at all. I don't know if any desire for freedom arose in me. I don't think. It was already there with me. From childhood it was there.
You say that a strong desire for enlightenment is necessary, and at the same time, you are also telling everyone to be quiet. How can these two coexist together? Can one have a strong desire for freedom and at the same time have an absolutely quiet mind?
It's not the strength and weakness of the desire. It is your weakness and strength, how you are holding it, and you have something else to do at the same time. Therefore, you are looking at some other desires also. Therefore, that is the strength of other desires. So if you check those desires which are stronger or which are weaker, you check both the desires, weaker desire and strong desire, this alone will remain as it is.
Do we need to believe in anything, Papaji? Do we, for example, have to believe that the Guru's words are correct? Do we have to believe that we can attain freedom? Do we have to believe I am already free? What are the minimum number of things that we have to believe in?
Yes, of course, you need faith. Faith in your own self, that I am free. If you at all want to believe in faith, this is the best faith you can have. I am already free. When you can have faith, I am suffering, I am bound, why not to have the best faith that I am free? What difference does it make?
So if one has absolute conviction that I am free, then sooner or later that conviction will mature into an experience. Is that what you're saying?
Not the experience, not the experience. Experience is with something else. So this desire will vanish. This desire will vanish itself. This desire for freedom will vanish. Knowing it that it is freedom itself. But since you were engaged in other desires, they have left you. So it remained what it was.
Papaji, I've heard you say on innumerable occasions that enlightenment is something which is very easy to discover. And yet, at the same time, I've also heard you say, also on innumerable occasions, that the number of people on this planet who are fully woken up to their own reality can be counted with one's fingers. If it is such an easy thing to discover, why do so few succeed?
It's so easy because you are not to work for it. It's so easy, you are not to go anywhere. You are not to go anywhere. You have to stay quiet. Therefore, it is very easy to attain freedom, is very easy. But it becomes difficult, people say difficult because they are otherwise engaged. So to give up their attachment to other things is difficult. Not the freedom is not difficult. To disengage yourself from other attachments may be difficult. That you have to decide once upon a time, now or next life.
In order to succeed, Papaji, is it necessary to have a master who is himself spiritually realized?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Otherwise, how to know that you are on the right track?
Many people in the West, Papaji, have spent a long time looking for a realized master. What advice can you give them? How would you advise them to conduct a search for a fully enlightened being?
They cannot find a true master, cannot be seen by the eyes. Therefore, if they try to see by their senses, they can't make a good judgment because master is beyond the senses and beyond any judgment. When you want to be free, this freedom itself is there which you need. But you do not depend on the freedom itself. And you don't understand the language of freedom, the language of emptiness, the language of love, because you have sold yourself to other objects. You don't understand this thing. So if you are very intensely in want of this thing for freedom and you don't understand, so this freedom out of compassion takes a physical form to speak to you in your own tongue so that you understand what is freedom, and then it teaches that I am your own self, and then it enters your own self and becomes one. This is the role of the teacher, to point out to you, I am yourself, I am that itself. This is the role of the teacher. For some time it becomes a teacher to just apprise you of the fact that you are that, you don't listen. Therefore, he becomes teacher. That becomes teacher to tell you, you are that itself. And then you see teacher and you is one.
Papaji, I will actually agree with you in that we have no capacity to determine who is or who is not enlightened. But at the same time, he did say that there were two useful clues which one should look for when one was trying to determine who is enlightened and who is not. He said if we meet someone who deals with everyone around him with full equality, and if we feel peace in his presence, then we may take these two signs to be legitimate indications that the man may be enlightened. Do you agree with this?
Of course, absolutely. So you need not ask a question because you will be misled by the statement, tall talks of the teachers. You will be misled, and if you feel your mind is quiet and you feel some kind of happiness and peace, and that can be the outer symptoms of a teacher, and only those people who are devotee of Krishna, so that Krishna even will manifest in physical form. I could see with the senses, I could see other things, so much attached. After spending some 4 days in Adi Anandai on the other side of the mountain, Arunachala, then Maharishi asked me where you had been. I said, around the other side, staying by myself and playing with Krishna. Oh, she very good, you have been playing with Krishna? Yes, sir, I've been playing with Krishna. He is my friend. Do you see him now? No, sir, I don't. So he said, what appears and disappears is not real. It's not real. The seer remained. You saw him, he disappeared. You remain, same seer. Now you are here also. Seer remained. Now find out who the seer is. So it was a word only, it was a word. But then it struck me. I became the seer. I became the seer. So whatever word I often say in Satsang also, whatever you hear, don't hold the word, go to the root of the word. Then instantly you will get it. When you say the word freedom, desire for freedom, you immediately go to freedom itself. And when someone speaks about some other object, let us go to lunch, you speak of food. So you are one with the food. Only right after the freedom, when you speak of freedom, you must be one with the freedom, smell freedom, enjoy freedom. But this doesn't happen. For other things, everything else we understand. The word takes us to that place.
Many people in the West, Papaji, would have done some form of meditation. Many of them will have practiced very intensive.
He poo-poos meditation, but that's a very high where he's coming from. He's just going to go on and talk that no meditation is in. And it really isn't it. It's just kind of a way to keep the mind quiet and get the mind clearer so that you can see. So that when the mind is chattering, you can't see the truth. It has to, the waves have to subside and it has to get even so that you can sense the truth, feel the truth, get clear and wise about what truth is. So he was just saying right there again about freedom, or the word freedom. He says, when you hear those words, don't just hear the word freedom. Go directly to it and feel what it is to be free. And he's saying, take it in deeply and get a sense of what freedom would be like, or is. More like is, because there is no future and no past. And that's why you can say, I'm already enlightened. Because that's your nature. That's the nature. And that nature is outside of time and space. You are enlightened. It's just that it's clouded over. And we all have it. Clouded over with ideas, and the mind interferes with that purity of your essence. And keeping quiet is a powerful, a most powerful state of what you can do in situations. Because if you take one step forward into that, then you would be sidetracked into that, and trouble follows that. It gets more magnified. There's no resolution there. The resolution comes from keeping absolutely silent. Say anything, you're going to be off. Right in front of you. That is very clear. If you say anything at all, it goes nowhere. There's nothing, and it's very likely to magnify the all. So silence in the sense of keeping quiet, actually with the mouth, but also inside, keeping quiet. Not jumping to any conclusions, not doing anything, not seeing anything, not hearing anything. In a sense, you're blind, deaf, and dumb. You know, and you just stay in that place, and that place is very, very powerful. It's the potentiality, as it were, of, in essence. That is what takes care of everything. Takes care of you within that. Brings you, as it were, grace. Grace flows in. What is no evil? There is no evil. Grace flows. God is manifest, as it were. The unmanifest comes into the manifest. It's wonderful for me to hear this, because this is actually what I've been talking about for quite some time. You know, we talk about keeping silence, and he said, keep quiet. I mean, it's extraordinary how God, or the self, comes along as it were, and gives you validation. It gives you confirmation. It gives you confirmation, and it happens without you doing anything. And it happens when you're open and receptive. You go, wow, look at that. I was saying this for a while, and now here, I'm getting confirmation that it is true, that all power and grace comes when you're silent, no matter how difficult the situation may be. Nothing else to say. And he was saying, don't listen to anybody's advice. Absolutely. What do they know? What do they really know? God is your own authority. You will find that it's impossible to go and seek help from the guy next door or from anybody. You know where they're at. You know that they have no clue where they're at. No clue at all. It comes from their own perception of what should be or shouldn't be, but it has nothing to do with God's perception. And if you've been practicing for a while, God is your only source of truth. You ready to go? Huh?
I thought you were about finished.
Oh. I liked what you said about stop projections. So who knows why certain experiences we have? Do we create them so they act like a mirror in front of you so that you can see where you trip up, what your problem is? Because it really comes from you. It really comes from you. It's not there. It's your projection that creates it. So, and it acts like a mirror then. They keep saying there's nobody out there. There's only God. There's only a dream that you're dreaming and creating the dream and then getting horrified by the dream. But the dream has a message. It's reflected back at you. You have an issue with this. It's your issue. It's not out there. It's in here. He calls it projections of the mind. Wherever there is an object, we're projecting. That's what he said. Then he says, we need the mirror. Next time you laugh, know that there's no thought in your mind, nothing going on there. Any questions or comments or additions or, I'm not sure I'm gonna continue with this tape. We got the gist of what he's saying here. A powerful message. Keep silent. And I'm no longer going to say it's easier said than done. Because that opens the door to difficulty. And always, you don't want to go there. There's no difficulty. There's no difficulty. Just keep going. So, identification with the mind and with another, then a host of issues arise. Host becomes monumental. It's a good side to that, because when you do that, it's very painful, and immediately turn to God, or turn to yourself for resolution, and there's an intensity there that comes out of pain, and that intensity is a blessing. You want to have intensity in order to reach the truth. You cannot be complacent. Good vibration here, and I don't know if you notice. Thanks for coming. Sunday, yes, yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
It was good.
Huh?
It was good.
Good.
Only two, but it was great.
It was good. It was meant.
It was what?
Meant.
Meant to be?
Quiet.
Yes. Good point. So we underline quiet.
Quiet. Have a good one.
Okay. Bye.